Hey, what up, guys? It's your boy Kid with 5, aka Kinshima 15. I just got done beating God of War Ragnarok. My mind's racing with a whole bunch of information. I thought I'd write a script, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go off rip. Whatever happens, happens. I'll edit the video around, make it better. But my reason for making this video was because a lot of review sites like IGN went out of their way to give this game a 10 out of 10. And I know it's my fault. I believe them. I fell for it. I played the game. Now, is the game a 10 out of 10? I don't think it is. But we're going to go over IGN's God of War Ragnarok video, their review, see if it is a 10 out of 10, try to get more information out of it, see if they're BSing half the shit they say, or if it's legit. And at the end of the day, this is all opinions. So I'm going to cross-reference my opinion with his. We're going to compare and contrast and see if it's legit. But before we start, I want to say what I would describe God of War as. I would describe God of War as a video game that is not fully a video game, but a medium in between a movie and a video game. It's somewhere in the middle, and it walks that line. Whether that's a positive thing is up to you. Let's go ahead and watch IGN's video and see if I agree with what this reviewer said after I beat the game. Let's start.
You think you can come here, become a daddy, get a clean slate? That ain't how it works. You're a destroyer, like me.
How do you follow up on one of the greatest video games of all time? Sony Santa Monica finds itself in a situation not dissimilar to when Francis Ford Coppola created the sequel to his mob movie masterpiece, The Godfather. Like part 2 of the Corleone story, God of War Ragnarok puts a fierce, younger member of the family directly under the microscope.
This is crazy. Now, this reviewer is comparing Ragnarok to 2018 by saying Ragnarok is pretty much a substantial upgrade from the original 2018 game. And that is not true. That is absolutely not true. Narratively speaking, maybe, I guess. But gameplay-wise, not even close.
Directly under the microscope. In doing so, it manages to reach the heights of its predecessor and in some ways even tower above it.
In some ways even tower above it. Okay, whatever. I guess it is a tad bit better in some aspects.
About time. You think you can come here, become a daddy, get a clean slate? That ain't how it works. You're a destroyer, like me.
How do you follow up on one of the greatest video games of all time? Sony Santa Monica finds itself in a situation not dissimilar to when Francis Ford Coppola created the sequel to his mob movie masterpiece, The Godfather. Like part 2 of the Corleone story, God of War Ragnarok puts a fierce, younger member of the family directly under the microscope. In doing so, it manages to reach the heights of its predecessor and in some ways even tower above it. The writing, performances and music are each exceptional, bringing this expansive Norse tapestry to life. But even as it holds your heart in one hand with its elegantly told story, it's crunching bones in the other with fantastically ferocious combat. It all binds together to forge a monumental action epic that adds yet another impressive landmark to the video game landscape.
With a review like this, you would think this game is out of this world. With praises that this reviewer has poured on this game, you would think this is the game that will revolutionize third-person action games. It's not even close.
You've already taught me discipline. I need more than that. I need answers. Answers you don't have.
Answers only your mother had.
Keeping things broad and spoiler-free, Kratos' story picks up a few years after the final revelations of 2018's God of War. The apocalyptic Ragnarok is coming, and its events circle around his son Atreus like one of Odin's ravens. Ragnarok wastes no time in stepping into the action, and after a breakneck opening battle, the first step of this new journey is to leave the frozen realm of Midgard behind and find a missing Norse god in the broader and varied universe. It may not be as tightly a told story as 2018's, but Ragnarok has much grander designs. This is a sprawling epic that always keeps things on the move without ever becoming disorientating, gluing me to the edge of my seat as it repeatedly toyed with expectations. It's an ambition regularly met by stunning execution, with a momentum that never slips as you hurtle towards its bombastic ending. This journey took me just over 28 hours with a fair few side quests completed along the way, but with plenty still left to do afterwards. Prophecy and sacrifice swirl at the story's centre, as it repeatedly prods at the concept of destiny and whether blood runs thicker than the ink that pens it. It doesn't merely offer up surface level readings of these themes. Instead, each character and their motives are given the respect they deserve by delving in deep. It's a truly special and fittingly grand conclusion of Kratos' Norse saga. Despite being laden with myth and melodrama, there's still plenty of time for welcome pockets of self-aware silliness that almost always elicit a laugh, whether that be another bizarre dwarven contraption or the simple thrill of Kratos eating a sausage. When not eating dinner, Kratos' thunderous voice actor Christopher Judge frequently engages in smartly realised dialogue with his equally impressive castmates. Make no mistake though, this is...
But the reason I paused it is because the reviewer is now comparing the voice acting of Kratos to the rest of the cast. And that's where I have a very big problem. See, there's this thing where every single Norse god, well, not every single Norse god, a handful of Norse gods in this game sound like millennials. They sound like people I go to work with. Why is Thor and Odin talking like my boss at work?
And let's be honest, they were kind of useless. I'll settle your debt with my ex.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? No shit. What? No shit. You walk through walls? No shit.
Why is Thor using slangs? Why is there an Asgardian or a Midgard person saying no shit? That doesn't make sense to me. It takes me out of the game completely. It just destroys the immersion. Now, I'm not talking about American accents. Freya has an American accent. Bowder, I think I said that name right, from 2018 had an American accent, but they're talking with normal words. They're not using slangs. I want to go do this. No shit. Yeah. You don't say. Bro, what? Bro, these are Norse gods from ancient times. These people, more than likely, were before when Jesus was around. So why are they using modern day English slangs? It doesn't make sense. I guess at the end of the day, it is artistic liberty. Santa Monica probably weighed their options and said, yeah, we'll just F it. We'll just have them talk like that. It's whatever. I don't care. And I guess for some people, maybe for a lot of people, it works. But for me, it does not work. Why is Kratos talking like an actual ancient human being and Thor is talking back to him like an American millennial? That does not make sense. It takes me out of it completely. The immersion is gone. Thor sounds like he could be my landlord. That's cool with me. Hey, I'm gonna raise your rent. You dig? That Thor sounds like he will say exactly that to me. I hate that. It irks me. But I guess this reviewer thinks it's okay, so it's whatever.
Is firmly Judge's court, and one he frequently dominates. Kratos' traumatic personal history is reflected in everything from his mournful tone of voice to his appearance.
Atreus! Listen to me.
Bro, the voice actor for Kratos, the person who does the mocap, bless this dude. Judge, bless him. He put his heart, he put his soul, him and Atreus, they're wonderful together. And I guess Atreus does use a lot of slangs, but the only reason it's not so in my face is because Atreus was talking like that in 2018 as a kid. I raised an eyebrow back then, but it was a little kid. So I guess I could let it go. And he continues that even into this age. I could let it go. Thor's daughter talks like that. I could let it go. And then there's Thor talking like my landlord. There's Odin talking like my next door neighbor. You understand? Like just this cool old white dude. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It takes me out of it. So as far as I'm concerned, the only people who felt authentic to the land were Freya, who is definitely an American lady. She sounds American, but she's not talking like a goddamn American. She's not using slangs. She's just talking in English that would make sense in a time when there weren't really English slangs to go around. You know, and I'm not expecting these voice actors to sound British. No, I'm tired of hearing British motherfuckers. No offense if you're British. I'm tired of you guys playing all the gods. If you're Greek god, no, I'm tired of it. Just cast anyone, whatever accents they have, let it be there. It works. Just don't have them talking with slangs. What? Doesn't imagine if this Kratos, is saying, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Boy, I'm gonna need you to go buy me milk right now. I already bought milk, Dad. No shit. What? Why is Kratos talking like that? So the only people that worked for me were Kratos, Freya, Atreus, Atreus' girlfriend, Angrboda. I think I said that right. Tyr works. Tyr sounded American, but he wasn't talking with slangs. The dwarves. Let's continue.
His Icarus wings are long since clipped, but his complexion is still pale, like a square of wall where a family portrait used to hang. The everlasting cycle of violence between parents and their children has long been a theme ever since the original God of War trilogy, although one that was only truly emphasised in 2018's revival. Now it's an inescapable fixture of Ragnarok.
The scene was tense. It was really tense.
An exploration of the rawest and most human of emotions, and what happens when they are channeled through superhuman vessels. Pain leads to anger, anger leads to hate. This is the genesis.
Yeah, the Norse gods in this game are very human. They are full of human emotions. I discussed this in my playthrough. I might post some clips of myself dissecting, you know, Thor's relationship with Odin. I really appreciate that. I thought it was well done. Thor felt like a real person, you know, apart from the slangs. So if only Thor didn't sound like an American Midwestern person, he would be so great. But he just, whatever. Yeah, but the emotion in the game is legit. Everyone is full of emotions and they sell it. Like, they discuss Thor's giant background. You know, Thor's half giant, and Odin has Thor killing practically his own people. How would that weigh down on Thor? They don't really discuss it, but they sort of touch on it a little bit, and I really appreciate that. I thought it was really great.
Of the stalking threat embodied by the incomparable force that is a grieving mother. Portrayed incredibly with a newfound fury by Danielle Bisutti, Freya is a striking presence to be reckoned with in the sequel.
Freya was great. Like I said, all these characters are full of emotion. You know, her son died in 2018. She's mad as hell, and she's here to collect. Freya was great all around, great voice acting. Didn't sound like American Midwest motherfucker. She just sounded like a goddess. You know what I mean? An angry, vengeful Valkyrie goddess. I got that energy from her, and she was so full of emotion, and I bought it. You know, same with Kratos and Atreus. They were so full of emotion, and I bought it. Everyone was full of emotion. Everyone, maybe except Odin. Odin was just maybe full of curiosity. Is curiosity an emotion? I don't know.
No longer just a helpful witch in the woods, she's given a whole new spectrum of emotional depth to play in, and Ragnarok is all the better for it. Each character is given their own moments to shine throughout. Sunny Suljic fires back regularly with the sharp teenage tongue of a brasher, more confident Atreus.
Very true, very true. Atreus has grown. He's a little talkative now. He's talking back to Kratos like any teenager would. And, you know, the chemistry between both these actors were really good. It was really good. Just Kratos, knowing Kratos' background from God of War 1 and 3, you sort of get this feeling that whatever Atreus talks back, Kratos might just want to snap and, you know, maybe slap him or something, but he doesn't do that, and, you know, that's cool. Yeah, so yeah, I love the dynamic between these two people. Kratos and his son.
Atreus, and Alistair Duncan's severed head accessory Mimir continues to provide levity and exposition in abundance.
I love Mimir. Mimir's great. I'm not quite sure what nationality his voice is in real life. Is he Scottish or Irish? I have no idea, but I buy it. Whatever Mimir is the god of, knowledge, whatever, works for me. I love Mimir.
Ah, back to smashing through things for fun and profit. Lovely.
Look at that. Who doesn't like Mimir? I love him.
Various newcomers to the vastly expanded
Weakest part of the game. Weakest part of the game. Odin. More like Slowden. Because that motherfucker slowed the whole game down. Bro, imagine coming from Zeus to this guy. This weak villain. He sounds like a substitute teacher.
cast also deliver fantastic performances, with a particular standout being Leia Hayes, radiating in
She was really good. And Angrboda, the voice actress, really good voice actress.
infectious energy from the mysterious Angrboda, the foul-mouthed Brock and skittish Sindri.
Ah, Brock. Brock is great. And he's not. He sounds way too... Bro, he sounds like he's from Texas. he sounds way too goddamn American to me. I don't know. But because he's not human, because he doesn't look human, I'll let it go. Him and Sindri, they're both great.
Provide pockets of humour, as well as a lot of genuinely helpful info along the way.
There is a subplot with Brock and Sindri. I thought it was pretty decent. I liked it.
As they play a much more central role in the story this time around. Also returning is composer Bear McCreary, whose score, like the Dwarven Smith brothers, goes hammer and tongs from the...
Bear's soundtrack it's good. It's good. I like it. It's delicious. It's delicioso. I like it. Kratos' theme, a lot of sad themes. I love it. Is it as good as this Godzilla soundtrack? No, not even close. Bear, God bless you for Godzilla King of the Monsters. That soundtrack is... Right. Every time there was a scene here that didn't have music or could have used a specific music in mind, I would hum it. So let's say Kratos is walking and he's getting angry, I would just hum that Godzilla theme in my head. Dun 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 hum hum dun 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 dun. Yeah. Bear's great. Music in this game is great. It's good. I like it.
First moment to the last. There's some truly beautiful music to be heard along the journey, as well as explosions of raw orchestral power during intense fight scenes. Layered writing, impeccable acting, and stunning set design are all crucial aspects in driving God of War's filmic aspirations home, but they're also never let down by the rock-solid technical craftsmanship at work.
So we are almost 3 minutes into this dude talking about the acting and the voice acting and whatnot. So I guess you're getting an idea of where I'm sort of going with this video. You know, this game is stuck in between being a video game and a movie. It's just right there in the middle, and it shows. This dude's been talking for almost 3 minutes about how fucking good the voice acting is, and I guess it is deserved. It's really good. The actors are good.
The one continuous camera shot style of 2018's reboot returns, impressively snaking through the entirety of Ragnarok as if mimicking the world serpent Jormungandr himself.
My goodness.
Rather on-the-nose goddamn writing. Ugh, the camera's snaking around like it's mimicking the world serpent. Ugh. Oh, yeah, I get it. It's one take, one shot. Nice.
What a strapping physique.
I'm not criticizing. I was just joking right there.
Capable of an astounding variety of acts of violence.
I couldn't stand this goddamn rodent. I would walk towards the hut and he would scream out like, "Hey, Kratos!" I like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But the voice acting is great.
I imagine.
We're into the gameplay aspect. Let's go. This is where all my real issues with the game, shine their ugly heads.
God of War's combat has always been the flashy attraction that draws a crowd in to be wowed by its story, however, and Ragnarok continues that tradition. Kratos' blades whip around in every direction, delivering a clanking fiery pain to any face they meet. Heavy cleaves of his axe crunch into enemies, making them fold like bloodied origami.
I will say this. The game does get really, the enemies get really spongy towards the middle of the game, especially when you play as Kratos. For some reason, the enemies are a lot easier to deal with as Atreus, but as Kratos, towards the middle, they get real spongy. They don't go down easy, especially the harder enemies. They will sponge and drink up all the damage you can deal them. It could take almost 50 hits just to take down certain enemies that aren't even bosses, you know. Especially if you play like the average person will, you know, just mash. I've got a lot of experience with fighting games, so I definitely understand how to chain link combos and all that, and it can get a bit grindy. At some point it got too grindy for my taste, just how damage spongy the enemies were. But hey, if you like that stuff, all power to you. I just wasn't fond of it.
With what remains one of the most satisfying button presses ever assigned to a controller. It's all unapologetically fast and undeniably glorious, harking back to the brand of frantic action in which the series was originally rooted. But
bro, look at the camera. Look at where Kratos is here on the camera. Look at all the real estate he's got to watch his back. This is literally all the real estate he has at this very moment to watch his back. And it's not even real estate. There is almost no way to tell visually, just by seeing, what enemies or what amount of enemies are behind you because of how zoomed in the camera is. It's all the way zoomed in. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why. I don't know if this is a mandate by Sony where all of your games have to have that Last of Us third-person camera angle thing. It's nuts. It's annoying. Why couldn't it have been like Ghost of Tsushima? Such a good game. I absolutely love that game. The camera is not close. It's far away. You can easily tilt it around. It moves at a good speed with you. There's enough room estate on Ghost of Tsushima for you to see what's going on in front of you, behind you, on your right and on your left. That's it. That's all they had to do with this game. But I guess they just wanted that cinematic feel. They wanted that camera exactly behind Kratos, you know. So it makes sense when it goes from gameplay to cutscene. It's not jarring because the camera's so far away. That's the only reason I think they would do this. This is ridiculous. Bruh, you have to rely on red arrows and yellow arrows to determine what kind of attack is coming your way. Sometimes you wouldn't know if it's a projectile. Once the yellow arrow flashes red, it means you can get the fuck out. You're gonna get hit by something. What it is, I don't know. I just gotta move. Maybe there is some sort of audio cue to let you know, but I don't know what it is. If there's some way to determine what a projectile is and what's not a projectile, please tell me. Because all I see is a red flashing light and I gotta get out the way. And there's not enough room sometimes for me to get out of the way because I don't know what's behind me. So what if I try to roll backwards? I don't know what's backwards. I'm just, boom, it's a wall. I roll into a wall. Oh, there's no room for me to roll away, and because there's a goddamn wall behind me, and I die. Nah, this is nuts. This is terrible. The camera system in God of War is bad. It's not good. This is not good at all. It can work. It can work for shooters. You understand? It works for shooters because most of the time the enemies are coming towards you and you're clearing a path as you go forward. And when they try to flank you, look, Last of Us, it works in The Last of Us because you can take cover. You can control that. And yeah, there are buttons to quickly switch the camera around, but none of them are good. None of them are good. One of the ways you can turn the camera around is by clicking the stick and pressing back. Like that. But you gotta flick it back when you click it. So sometimes when you try to flip the camera backwards by clicking, why would you make this the flip the camera backwards? It's the same button for sprinting. Why would you do that? It doesn't work. Do you know how many times I accidentally flipped the camera when I was trying to sprint backwards towards that side of the camera? And when it flips around, you're what the hell just happened? And there's the second option. It's the block button and down. You gotta hit this, you gotta hit this, and the down button on D-pad at the same time to flip the camera back. No, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. There's a reason games like Ghost of Tsushima don't have buttons that want you to flip the camera around, because you can already see you're behind. There's a reason Devil May Cry doesn't have that, because the camera is an ample distance away to let you control that space. And I get it. They want you to feel like you're Kratos. Kratos doesn't have eyes behind his head. Bro, get the fuck out of here. That shit doesn't work. Bro, it doesn't. I'm not Kratos. I'm not Kratos. You know? I'm not. I don't know. It just doesn't work. The camera just, it doesn't work. Let's continue this. Let's see what else the reviewer has to say.
But even with that slight shift to old school action, Ragnarok's eyes are still drawn more to the
Look at that red arrow. You see that red arrow right there on his body?
shimmer of Nathan Drake's gold rather than Bayonetta's platinum. Cinematic spectacle takes precedence over the chaotic, bordering on cartoonish action of old. The axe feels largely similar to how you remember, and that's no bad thing with its dynamic mix of heavy attacks and ranged power, but how you wield the blades is noticeably different. There's a greater emphasis on using them to hook enemies and maneuver them around the arena, whether that be dragging them in towards you or juggling them in the air like the hottest of potatoes. They're much closer to how they felt in the original games.
What? What?
A nostalgic move.
What? He said they are much closer to the original games than ever? What the? Let's listen to let's listen to that again.
The arena, whether that be dragging them in towards you or juggling them in the air like the hottest of potatoes. They're much closer to how they felt in the original games. A nostalgic.
You're much closer to how they. Bro, the chains feel nothing like God of War 3. You can't even do air combos with it. Kratos cannot jump. So for him to say that the chains feel real close to the original trilogy is cap. That's a complete. I don't want to say he's. I guess I already said he's lying, but that's such a crazy comparison. This video was by Bilal Ashraf. Name is right there. You can check him out.
Enemy behind you, Kratos! Enemy behind you, Kratos!
He's good. He's really good. He's going crazy. Like, this is nice. This is nice. But come on. Bro, did he just paw drive that motherfucker? What the fuck? Was that a backbreaker? That was off a chain combo. This was done by GBG, Game Breaker God. Go check him out. He's got some sick combos. He's actually also doing a bunch of normal God of War shit. He's pretty goddamn good. So in essence, what I'm saying is Kratos in God of War Ragnarok feels like a very strong old man with an axe. And then the older games from the original trilogy, he feels like a god. So that I don't think there's any other way I could describe it. So yeah, you could probably do some fun combos, but they're not as godlike as I would like it to be, especially this being the last game in the installment for potentially a long time, or rather indefinitely. I thought they would go all out. Kratos cannot do air combos. What? Are you serious? Whatever.
Shield is now more of an offensive tool, and different types can be bought and crafted to fit your playstyle. Runic abilities, special cooldown attacks assigned in your inventory also return, and while there isn't the same abundance of choice this time around, each is devastatingly effective. Brutal finishes on stunned enemies are another enjoyable throwback to the God of War of old. There's noticeably a good amount of variety in the randomly
That is true.
chosen weapon-specific animations too.
There's only 2. Each weapon probably has like 2 different animations for slicing someone in half. He makes it sound like there is a whole random generated. No, there's just 2 per weapons. And if you fight with just your fists, if you use just your fist to fight, and you want to go with a fist only, every time you try to get a finish animation on one of them, Kratos automatically switches to either his axe or his chains. He doesn't use his bare hands, and that's a big mistake. That is a letdown. I started the game with my fists. Every time I got a finisher, Kratos would pull out his axe or his chains, and that disappointed the hell out of me. Why doesn't he have finishers for his hands? He rip him in half. I want to see that. I want to see him pull that dude's skull off. I want to see him rip someone from your mouth down. I want to see that. But no, it's not there. Oh well.
Movement is further emphasised by the way you can now grapple up from a distance using the blades and launch across gaps to dive into combat. Taller areas.
You can only grapple wherever the devs want you to. You can't grapple freely. You can't move around the map freely. You can only move where they want you to, because you're a kid and they'll hold your hand and limit how you play. Because you're a little kid and this is a Marvel movie. This is a Disney ride. You know what I mean? So no, don't think you're gonna go here making your own gameplay, your own stunts, utilizing this sandbox however you see fit. You do what we want you to do, where and when we want you to do it. Alright? That's it. You cannot grapple anywhere. You can only grapple where they want you to. They'll let you know. There will be an X button letting you know you can grapple there. If there's no X button, no, you can't grapple there. Stay your ass down and just fight on the ground. This sucks.
Area design literally adds extra layers to battles, allowing you to leap from a ledge to deliver death from above.
Only where the devs allow you to do it. You can't do it whenever you please. You can only do it when they allow you. Because you'll know there'll be an X.
Combat sequences.
Why don't you mention that, IGN? Just let them know. Hey, the devs put a bunch of places on the map where you can do this X, Y, Z. You can just jump off the map and do a slam on the ground. You can do it only here. You can't do it here because there aren't any grapple hooks over there to let you do it. Bro, this is 2022. Why are they limiting our creativity? Why are they babying us? Shame on you, IGN. You could have mentioned that, but I don't think they got paid by Sony. I just think whoever is playing this, I don't want to go ahead and say they're not a real gamer. They are a real gamer. It's just man, I feel like whoever played this game is most likely an adult, has played a lot of games. So why are they impressed by the bare minimum? How do you play Devil May Cry and come back to this? You can grapple wherever the fuck you want on Devil May Cry. You can jump and slam the ground wherever you want on Devil May Cry by hitting the jump button and press another button that lets you slam. You know? You don't have to run and build up momentum and hit the X button to do that slam. No, you don't have that. You don't need a rune stone to do that in the old God of War games. Forget Devil May Cry. The old God of War games. My bad. I should have used that. You don't need all that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Whatever. Because the devs let you go crazy. It's your playground. But here, it's a Disney ride. It's a Marvel movie. You know, you sit down, shut the fuck up, watch a whole bunch of cutscenes you cannot skip, and only play how and where we want you to. And you want to replay the game? Well, watch some more cutscenes, motherfucker.
Can feel akin to Doom kill boxes, as you dash and swing around elevated platforms towards your next victim in performances of acrobatic.
Oh, the comparison to Doom is just amazing. Doom Eternal, a game that lets you do whatever the fuck you want. You know, let you go wherever, jump however, slam the ground however, play however you want. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not Doom Eternal. Okay, maybe Doom Eternal is not a good example because unless you're playing on real low difficulties, Doom Eternal, it is a game you can play however you want, but you know, yeah, it's almost like a rhythm game. Certain guns work for certain enemies, but it's fast paced, and you can pretty much, you get the point. You can play Doom Eternal however you want, but it's advisable you play a certain way. You don't play it like a normal shooter. You play a certain way, get a feel for the game, know what guns work on whatever demons, and it's a blast. But here, it's whatever. You do what we want you to do. You get the idea, right?
Bloodshed, juggling cooldowns, Atreus' arrows, and your rage meter to efficiently and spectacularly destroy everyone sent to stop you. Each fight feels like a real occasion as you slalom your way through ranged.
Bruh. It took me around 27 hours to beat this game. 60% through, I was done. I was bored with the combos because it was the same. Swing, 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 swing. Camera so close to you. I don't know. I can't see who's coming. Oh, the arrow turned red. I'm gonna roll away. I got bored. At that point, I just kept playing the game because I wanted to beat it on my own terms without people online spoiling it for me. This is a $70 game, by the way.
Parryable and unblockable attacks in order to sneak in a hit or two. Enemies can now perform powerful but interruptible attacks, signified by a blue ring above their head, in addition to their regular skills. A double tap of the shield will sort these out, but get your timing wrong and you're in line for some considerable pain.
Yes, this game is hard. This game is hard. Don't get it twisted. This game it's very hard. It's not Elden Ring or, you know, Demon Souls and Dark Souls levels are hard, but it is hard. It is hard. I had to turn the difficulty down because I had that motherfucker on balance and I was getting curb stomped by two goddamn trolls in a narrow hallway. What the fuck, Santa Monica? What the hell was that? That had to be the worst part of the game for me. I almost gave up. It was terrible. The game was hard, and no matter how hard you hit this motherfuckers, the health bar barely went down, bro. You had, oh shit, let's just keep going, man. I'll probably put a clip or two, show you guys how it felt for me playing against those stupid ass trolls. Bro, I can't see where I'm rolling to. I can't see where I am rolling to. I can't.
There are plenty of other big additions to combat that I won't divulge so as not to ruin the sensation of discovering them yourself.
Oh, so there are additional additions to combat? Well, spoilers. I think he's talking about the spear. Kratos gets a spear and a spear. The axe and chain are pretty much copy and pasted from 2018. If you play 2018, you know exactly how they feel. You know, there was no extreme makeover. It's the exact same. So that's why I enjoyed using the spear, because it was just new and new combos to see. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
But rest assured, Ragnarok has myriad more tools in its bag than God of War 2018 ever did, and is all the more enthralling for it.
What else is there? What else is just this? It's just a fucking spear. There's nothing extensive like he's making it seem. Let's listen to what he says again.
Than God of War 20 them yourself. Options to combat that I won't divulge so as not to ruin the sensation of discovering them yourself. But rest assured, Ragnarok has myriad more tools in its bag than God of War 2018 ever did.
Like what? Myriad more tools? I'm guessing that means quite a lot more tools, and all I can think about are the chains. And I guess the fact that you can finally throw things on the ground at enemies, but nothing really groundbreaking or, you know, ooh, wow, you know, what a huge gameplay upgrade. I don't recall. It feels the exact same way. Let's continue this.
And is all the more enthralling for it. And is all the more enthralling for it. It all feels exceptional when in full flow.
You see that? You see that? You see Kratos do that jump right there?
It all
You see that?
all the more enthralling for it.
You see that? Circle. Circle to grapple. You can't grapple any other way. You can only grapple where they want you to grapple.
Flow often.
If not, there's an invisible wall stopping you in the 2022 games. Don't get me started on the invisible wall. There are so many invisible walls in this game. You can't even walk near a river without an invisible wall. What, Kratos can't swim? He can, because we see him do it in the cutscene. Oh wait, of course he does it in the cutscene and not the game. Because this is a fucking movie disguised as a game.
Mesmerizing with its top-tier action drenched in rhythmic brutality, and is quite simply the best combat I can remember playing in a game. And that just goes for the regular fights. But the best combat I can remember playing in a game.
What? He said God of War Ragnarok has got the best combat he's ever played in a game. That is scary. That is scary. Someone from a place of power can make such a claim. They've essentially told millions that this might be the best combat out there. And that is, you know what? I know games are subjective, but that is just objectively wrong. No, you're not going to sit here and tell me this gameplay is better than Devil May Cry 5. You're not. There's nothing that can convince me. And here's what's crazy. I like the God of War franchise more than Devil May Cry. I think the God of War franchise, the ideas, the people, Kratos, are leagues above what Devil May Cry has to offer. The only people I care about in Devil May Cry is just Dante and Virgil. I don't give a fuck about Nero. I don't give a fuck about the world. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that God of War plays better. That's a fucking lie. This person needs to play more video games. Just has to. I guess it is subjective. I guess he likes that. No, I refuse it. I don't care if you disagree with me. Fuck you.
And that just goes for the regular fights. Boss battles are of both a higher quantity and quality, including one encounter that makes the opening Stranger fight from 2018 look like a playground scuffle.
No, absolutely not. The Baldur fight was better. The Baldur fight was better. You understand? That came with hype. It worked. It just fucking worked. It was just, bro, that's the first time you get to play with this new God of War mechanic against someone you have no idea. Baldur, this scrawny ass dude, knocks you 20 feet in the air. The hype, the Baldur fight, it just feels better. It feels, I don't want to say, nah. The Baldur's fight is way more iconic in the God of War franchise. It just works. Thor is going off the hype of the end of 2018. The Baldur fight was just, it had way more excitement because it came out of nowhere. But this you see coming a mile away. So I guess it is subjective, but to me Baldur fight was way more fun. You know, especially because it came with the new gameplay style. It was fresh. But here, it feels like you're playing a DLC. The game just continues where it left off at the end of 2018. It feels the exact same way. Oh well, that's my opinion.
It's not just the story bosses either. I fought massive alligator bastards called Dreki on more than one occasion, which...
Boring to fight. These creatures are very boring to fight. A lot of the enemies in this game are very boring to fight. I can only think of one fight that excited me, and that was, if you're watching this, bro, and you clearly don't care about spoilers, but the only fight I really cared about that got me going was the Heimdall fight. I thought that was fun, and the reason it was fun is because Heimdall was hyped up really, really well, and just overall the cutscenes involving him were really cool. You know, he could read minds, so he was just ducking all of Kratos' shit. That shit was hype. He was just cool. He was just, I think Heimdall was probably the coolest boss in the whole game. Which brings me to my next point. There aren't a lot of Norse gods to fight in this game. So let's think about the Norse gods we do fight. We fight Freya. If Freya joins us, you know, we don't kill her. She joins us. We don't necessarily defeat her because it sort of ends in a cutscene where she has the upper hand over Kratos and then Loki saves her. So I don't even count that. So let's talk about the actual villainous bosses. Heimdall, Odin, and Thor. That's it. That's it. That's all we fought. I beat the game, and I had to go on Google to look up Norse gods because I was like, this can't be it. This cannot be it. So let's go ahead and actually do that right now. Let's look at a list of a bunch of Norse gods. Okay, we're looking. Oh shit, that motherfucker is so bright. We are looking at a list of Norse gods and goddesses. Baldur, we fought him. God of Beauty, really good boss. I think Baldur is a way more interesting villain than Kratos and Odin and Heimdall. I think Baldur was fun, and he didn't even do a lot, but you just empathize with this motherfucker because he couldn't feel nothing. I'd be mad too. Bor, the father of Odin, I'm guessing he's dead, so let's forget about him. Bragi, the god of poetry, music, and harp. We could have fought the nigga. The motherfucker could have been shooting some goddamn treble and bass notes at us. Buri, the ruler of prehistory, the first god and father of Bor. Yeah, probably not. He's probably dead. Dagur, the god of daytime, son of... We could have fought this motherfucker. Deling, god of dawn. We could have fought that motherfucker. He could have been throwing a bunch of hot fires or sun rays or some shit. Eir, the goddess of healing. We could have fought her. She could have had some mad regeneration abilities. Eostre, goddess of spring. We could have fought her. She could have had some ice abilities or some shit. Eli, goddess of... Oh, they got a lot of female goddess. That's nice. I like that shit. Goddess of old age. Bro, imagine a game where Kratos has to fight a god that is aging him so fast that his immortality is starting to reach a limit. Like, that would be such a dope boss fight, and Atreus is helping at the same time. Bruh, you got to get to this girl before you age out of existence. That would be awesome. Forseti, god of justice, peace, and truth. Freyja, Frigg, whatever. Hel, the queen of Helheim. Of course, there's no Queen of Helheim here. It cannot work narratively speaking because she's the daughter of Loki, so she's not here. Oh my God, they wrote themselves into a corner by making Atreus Loki, but they never figured out how to make it work. And I figured they would use time travel to make all this shit work, but they don't even touch time travel at all in this game. They don't. They barely do. There's no time travel whatsoever. The only time travel you see is when Thor finally hits the world serpent and he disappears. Oh, that's the time travel they spoke about in 2018. Boo, boo. Why didn't we fight Hel? Loki's daughter. Imagine if we fought Hel. Grandfather, I've heard so much stories about you. And she makes her way into the present of some shit. And Loki and Atreus are like, you're my daughter? Bro, oh my God, the potential. Wasted. Thank you, Santa Monica, for doing the bare fucking minimum. God of winter, killed by a valley. Okay. Bro, you get the point. There's so many fucking gods we could have fought, and we only fight 3 Norse gods. That's lame. That's so fucking lame. Let's continue.
A real event to fight and more of a challenge than 2018's Trolls ever posed. It's great to see sprinklings of that old school monster.
Okay, more of a challenge than the Trolls in 2018. Okay, it's supposed to be. Okay, it doesn't even say much. Don't get me wrong, 2018 had a lot of issues, bruh. 2018 is not a perfect game. The game was repetitive as fuck. It was bad in terms of just replay value because it was just so fucking repetitive. And I was hoping they would fix all of that in Ragnarok. But all the problems from 2018 literally found their way into Ragnarok. And that's why Ragnarok is worse than 2018. 2018 is good. Ragnarok is not as good.
The mayhem thrown into the mix, which manages to successfully offset some of the more serious stretches of the story.
damn, I gotta. I didn't fight this boss. I didn't fight this boss. It's probably somewhere in the world. I gotta find him, but I don't want to. I'm not motivated to keep playing this game. The devs don't respect me, so why should I respect them by giving this game more of my time? And I'm not here to complain about the length. The game is long enough. I think the game is 20. It took me 27 hours to beat. Mwah. Perfect length for a single player game. I like that shit. So I'm not complaining about the length.
Smart new puzzle ideas are consistently introduced.
Jesus fucking Christ. The puzzles in this game. Holy shit. Bro, sometimes they don't even explain how to do the puzzles correctly. They just put a whole bunch of fucking words on the side of the screen and let you, like, the circle does this and that. Bro, what? Bro, there's no logical way that most people will find out the information of this. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. You understand? I definitely don't like puzzles. I'll be honest about it. I hate puzzles. I hate puzzles. But if the puzzles are done in a way that, you know, aren't too on the nose annoying and, you know, brain teasers and all that shit, fuck it, I'll do it. But there's some puzzles in this game. Holy shit, bro. Way too many fucking puzzles. And I know God of War has always had puzzles, but the puzzles here were obnoxious. They bordered on just the devs making fun of me. Felt like the devs were clowning me at some point. I had to look up one puzzle because it felt impossible, and the whole comments were just people complaining about what the fuck are Santa Monica thinking with this puzzle. Let me see if I can find that video and we can look at the comments real quick. Look at this. This was the exact video. This has 40,000 views. This is not good. This is not a good look at all. 40,000 views for a puzzle, and wow, you motherfuckers could only 600 people like the video. I'm sorry. I guess I would have liked the video, but he definitely deserves more likes on this video because this was a terrible puzzle. Let's go ahead and look at the comments. Thank you so much. Normally I don't mind puzzles, but this falls under how the fuck was I supposed to know that category? Yes, sir. Thanks a bunch. I hate looking up guides, but this one had me stumped for like 30 minutes and I caved. Sure did. Why was this so hard? The game devs did not test this section at all. They absolutely did not. I'm going to look at the comments and watch it be a bunch of motherfuckers dick riding Santa Monica. I was stuck. Okay, have you never played God of War endgame puzzles? Made me want to die. Okay. They did a poor job explaining what you were actually trying to do. Not knocking them, though. This game is just amazing. Yeah. They didn't explain this well at all. I'm so glad I wasn't the only one. You get the idea. So a lot of puzzles are exactly like this. They give you this feeling where it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, bro, you guys didn't explain what the fuck to do. So how the fuck am I supposed to know? There's an infinite possibility as to how this could be approached in real life. So trying to put that into a game is just like, bro, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So it is what it is. And IGN did not criticize the puzzle. So you're telling me he cleared that puzzle? Because this is a critical puzzle you need to progress on a story. So I'm guessing he or she must have just, you know, breezed right through that motherfucker. No way, bro. He probably, there are a decent amount of puzzles here, even in the main story, that will force your hand and make you look up puzzle guides. Maybe Santa Monica sends them a bunch of play tips or some shit. I don't know. And there should be a skip puzzle option on games like this. There should be a skip puzzle. I don't care if the OG games didn't have it. I don't care if 2018 didn't have it. There should be a skip puzzle option. I don't give a fuck. It should be.
And building complexity throughout as more abilities are added to your arsenal. They're often fun and never in danger of slowing your progress to the detriment of the plot. But even so,
the puzzles absolutely slowed the pace of the game down for me. It did. It definitely. It made me want to just beat this game as soon as possible and be done with it. It fucked the pace up real bad. There were times where, you know, you get stuck in a puzzle, and after grinding your ass doing a fucking puzzle, they'll throw 2 goddamn trolls at you, and you're like, why, God? Why?
So, Atreus or Mimir can't help but come in with a hint far too early and sometimes rob you of that satisfying aha moment. It's a
he talks about Atreus interjecting a lot, and that for people who like puzzles, that might be a problem. For me, bro, please explain this motherfucker. I'm stuck. Explain this shit, boy. Explain this motherfucker, please. You know. But sometimes he'll just be quiet. There were many times where Mimir, Freya, and Atreus would just be quiet, and I'll just be stuck. Oh well.
Very rare annoyance in a world where normally every last word is a joy to listen to. Armor customization has been streamlined, resulting in the removal of the slotting system for a more straightforward upgrading mechanic.
I do not care for the RPG elements of this game. I despise it. I rebuke it. I hate it with a fucking passion. I hate this shit so much. Get this shit out of God of War. Get it out. If I'm playing the game, if I unlock a bunch of new skins, a bunch of new armor, let it just be for cosmetics. Let me just upgrade my skill tree. This grinding shit is irritating. It's disgusting. I hate it. If you like that RPG shit, I'm happy for you. You got what you wanted. For people who like me who hate that shit, it's here. It's annoying. It's just makes the game worse. And I like RPGs. I do. I love RPGs. But I don't want it in my God of War. I just don't. I hate it. And most of the outfits are ugly anyway. They're an eyesore as far as I'm concerned.
Enchantments are now placed inside a separate amulet rather than spread over various pieces of gear. This division makes seeing what you have equipped easier and means you aren't lost delving into too many menus within menus. This also means you can upgrade a piece of armor and take it with you through your journey if your playstyle happens to perfectly click with a certain set, or you just love how it looks. The same goes for weaponry, which can be upgraded as well as fitted with attachments such as individually named hilts and handles, each with their...
I'm gonna speed this dude up.
Realms old and new are regularly a sight to behold, many looking torn from the pages of fairy tales, stocked with oversized flora and fauna. There's an extra effort to delve deeper into the mythology this time around, and as someone who's a fan of the Nordic source material, it's a real pleasure to see all of the different interpretations of creatures, people, and places they inhabit brought to life in all manner.
Bro, he's right that there are a whole bunch of realms to visit, but there's a whole bunch of invisible walls to go with them. You know, if you're not traveling on the water or on some sort of wolf-like creature traversing the realms, as soon as you walk into a room, it's a whole bunch of invisible walls. As soon as you walk near a swamp, there's a whole bunch of invisible walls. You can't explore like he's trying to make it seem. Let's let him talk a bit. Let me not put words in his mouth.
Of delightfully weird ways. For example, the dwarven city of Nidavellir is a welcome rural change of scenery, with its many homes and tunnels that Kratos must amusingly crawl around in.
Amusing? Did he just call this shit amusing?
It's a welcome rural change of scenery, with its many homes and tunnels that Kratos must
Bro, that shit was annoying. Going through the cracks and just your Kratos lets and they slide in through the cracks and he goes after him. The crawling through the tunnels, all that shit was annoying. It was the game practically, or basically loading the next scene. I hated that shit. Bro, I've got a PlayStation 5. I should not be experiencing that at all. But it's cross-gen, so, you know, due to the PlayStation 4. That shit was annoying. It really was. But, yeah, I did not enjoy exploring the realms like I thought I would. Because there's a whole lot of invisible walls. You know, you can traverse. You can look at the sights. You can look and see how beautiful the game is, which it is. But if you want to get down and dirty and just move around and climb around, you can only do that when they want you to. It's just it. This game it's a roller coaster. Literally, it's a theme park. I did not enjoy visiting the realms. I didn't. I didn't have fun. It felt like I was in a museum, I guess, like some sort of art show collection where you can look at the realms, but you can't really touch it. You can look at Asgard. You can be in Asgard, but you can't get too close because we've got all these invisible walls stopping you from exploring. But you can ride through the roads, you can move in the middle, you can move through the river and canal on your boat and on your wolves. But once you get down and try to go to somewhere you think that's interesting, invisible walls. Oh, you like that temple? Go in the temple? You can't go that way. You can't go that way. There's a big rock right there. Invisible wall right there. Hey, I guess people like that, bro. I don't. It's terrible.
Crawl around in. It's at the centre of the rocky realm of Smartalfheim, where waterways weave through islets littered with bubbling geysers.
That's it. That's exploring. It's in this game. That is literally exploring.
There's a real sense that this realm was ripped right out of the Old Norse poetic Edda's home of Iceland. Those geysers are also key to solving many of the puzzles in the region, as you freeze them to create stepping stones and manipulate machinery. Quirks like this help in making each place feel unique. Similarly, fun ideas are introduced in the returning Alfheim, such as reflective crystals that you can ricochet
So many fucking puzzles, Jesus.
your axe off of to open doors, or even use to blindside unwitting opponents in combat. It's a further example of not only
Feature where you throw the axe and it bounces off the metal, the purple metal, into an enemy. I only used it once right there, and they showed it to me because the game doesn't give me a reason to do it any other time. The devs don't incentivize me to use it any other time, so why should I? There's no stealth in the game, so what's the fucking point? There's no stealth. So why is it trying to add stealth mechanics?
crystals that you can ricochet your
I
axe
don't know, I guess you will stun
off of
them.
to open
I guess if you do that, you can stun them and get, I don't know, get more stun points.
doors, or even use to blindside unwitting opponents in combat.
Do you see that? Yeah.
It's a further example
That's it. But what's the point? You do that to one enemy, like 6, 7 more swarm, and they just swarm your ass.
of not only each realm looking distinct, but also feeling distinct to play in from one another. Every location almost feels like a puzzle box that you're gradually unlocking through a combination of brain and brawn as you make your way through it.
So fucking true. That's the real shit he said. Puzzles, puzzles, puzzles. Kill me now. Jeez.
These worlds bring with them dangerous new threats. If there are any faults to be found in 2018's revival, then modest enemy variety may well have been one of them. However, there is no such issue in Ragnarok, with its bestiary vastly expanded to accommodate all sizes and shapes of creatures.
There are a bunch of creatures, a bunch of new creatures sprinkled into the mix, and I do appreciate that. But none of them were really memorable to me. None of them, not a single one. Not one. Okay, I lied. There's this lion creature, face of a lion, and with a tail that looks like a snake. Really good design. That's the only one I remember. I don't remember its name. That's the only new creature that stuck out to me. It looks like one of the mounts the Asgardians ride around.
Familiar foes such as Draugr and elves have made their way across, but this time they're joined by creatures like Grimms, which, you guessed it, are pretty grim, scuttling toad people. Then there's a personal favourite, the Einherjar, Aesir warriors who harness the power of the Bifrost that makes a section of your health bar glow before removing that chunk on the next.
Bro, I hated fighting these dudes. These dudes were mad annoying. The gimmick, you have to stun them with the purple sign from Atreus or Freya before you can actually deal damage or get through your shield. So annoying. But it is part of the game. But hey, I wasn't really having fun, so seeing these people, it just made me have less fun, even while I wasn't having fun. So it was just compounded on it real bad.
Hit. There's an engaging but never unfair difficulty curve throughout as you're met with progressively
Though Kratos snaps a lot of necks in this game. Most of the animals and creatures he fights, the really big ones, they usually die by him snapping his leg, snapping their neck. And it is hilarious every single time. I enjoy that shit. Just watching them snap their necks, so good. But it's the same animation for each one. The bigger you are, the usually you just have one finisher. I don't mind though. I could watch him snap necks all day.
greater threats.
Well, at least it's attacking someone besides us.
Side missions are sometimes spectacles in their own right. They're a great source of character development as you learn more about your friends and companions by helping them right past wrongs. Some side quests do just present a pure gameplay challenge over extra stories, however, such as hunting down powerful legendary enemies dotted across the realms of Yggdrasil's roots. There is no shortage of genuinely tough side boss encounters.
If these are the kind of bosses, 90% of the bosses you'll be fighting are big monsters, or giant looking monsters, or humanoid looking monsters. You only fight 3 Norse gods in a God of War game, in a Ragnarok game. How's that not disappointing? I don't know. You only fight 3 Asgardians. I don't know. You play as Atreus. I don't think Atreus gets any bosses. If he does get a boss, I don't recall. It must not have. It definitely wasn't memorable if I don't remember it. Oh well.
encounters either. Chipping away at larger health bars is a really satisfying challenge, and remarkably well balanced against the standard quick kill nature of the majority of Ragnarok's fights. It's yet another testament to the masterful combat design on display, and yes, there are some absolutely tough.
Masterful combat is just an insane compliment to give this, because there's nothing masterful about this. If this is masterful, what is the old God of War game? What is it? Is it worse? It's not worse. Is it a masterpiece too in terms of gameplay? A lot of people would probably say no. So why is this getting that label? Because it's not. Look at this camera. This is how it is fighting enemies sometimes. How am I supposed to see who's attacking me? Through arrows? Really?
As nails endgame level challenges to rival the Valkyries of 2018, but I'm gonna let you find out what those are for yourself.
I'm so fucking bored.
There's a substantial slew of collectibles to clean up as well, with Odin's ravens, puzzle chests, artifacts, and much more to find in every corner. There's a ton to be done after the main story has been brought to a close. All of it in
That is literally exploring.
much
right
more
there.
to find in every corner. There's a ton to be done after the
That's the exploration. You drive around, you find a little hole or a little pathway, and you walk through it and look for chests, a bunch of chests, and every now and then, Mimir or one of your companions will talk about what they see. It's not exploring. It's sightseeing.
All of it incredibly Moorish and fun to complete. Ragnarok never once rests on its laurels, throwing new ways to play at you until the very end. Despite having a seemingly endless amount to praise here, I really have barely scratched the surface of what God of War Ragnarok has to offer. I'm deliberately omitting dozens of secrets and surprises. I wouldn't.
Well, I was like, what else does it have to offer? You've spoken about everything it has to offer. A bunch of Norse gods to fight, a bunch of big monsters to fight. What else is there to talk about? Is a story? A very decently long, I don't want to say very long story mode, but a long story mode. It took me 27 hours to beat the story mode. It could have taken me less. I did a bunch of side missions, so maybe 25 hours to beat the game. So what else is there to the game? There's really nothing else. That's it. I don't know what else. I don't know what this dude talking about. After the game, after you beat the main story, there are quite a bunch of side missions to play with a decent amount of cutscenes. Like some of these cutscenes are, main mission level. But oh well.
Dare spoil what's to come for anyone booting it up for the first time. But rest assured, there are both huge story moments and fresh gameplay additions that live up to and often surpass expectations. Taken all
Not
together,
really.
much
No.
like The Godfather Part 2, God of War Ragnarok delivers not only
Stop comparing this game to Godfather Part 2. Stop it. That is absolutely not true. It doesn't come close in terms of upgrading from the original. Not even close. This is literally God of War 2018.5 with more bosses, more gameplay mechanics. That's it. It's the same fucking game. It's not built from the ground up in terms of gameplay. It's not. It's not like coming from The Last of Us 1 to The Last of Us 2 in terms of gameplay. Those games don't play the same. A lot of people like to say they do, but they don't. The Last of Us takes everything you can do in The Last of Us 1 and makes it 10 times better. It makes it way more fluid. It's just better in every way. God of War Ragnarok doesn't do that with 2018. It is literally 2018 down to the T with a couple new mechanics here and there. And these new mechanics are not substantial enough to garner the sort of praises this reviewer is pouring on the game. It's crazy to me, man.
a chapter that reaches the lofty heights of its predecessor, but leaves it impossible to imagine the series without it.
Well, let's end this shit, bro. He gave it
An enthralling spectacle to behold.
give it a 10 out of 10. That is insane. This game is not a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 could definitely be, a personal or a subjective score. But for a reviewer who's trying to be as objective as possible, a 10 out of 10 masterpiece would mean this game is genre defying. It is revolutionary in terms of its scope, but the game is not. It's absolutely not. We need to stop taking IGN seriously, at least American IGN. IGN Korea gave this game a 6, and I think that is a very fair score. It gave it a 6. I personally give the game a 7 out of 10. But we can quickly look at the IGN Korea review real quick, just so if you haven't seen it, we can inform you guys. I'm getting real sleepy. God of War Ragnarok review, IGN Korea. The game's core design has not moved an inch since the prequel. Facts. 100% facts. And the story seems to be lacking in creativity in comparison. I'm guessing this is a translation of the original Korean, and I definitely see where they're coming from. But like, that is subjective. I enjoyed the story, or whatever story it told. I thought it was decent. Unlike the well-coordinated experience as a whole, like last time, everything in Ragnarok seems to act like soulless puppets attached to a series of strings. This one feels rather like a quickly brewed DLC of the Bro, facts. Feels like a DLC of the previous time. Bro, this game is a glorified fucking DLC, but bigger. It feels like an expansion pack. Bro, this review is spot on. And you want to know what's crazy? This reviewer got death threats for speaking the fucking truth, and that sucks. This is real critique. I like that shit. This is my complete breakdown of IGN's God of War. It's not a 10 out of 10. We need to be very objective with what we give 10s out of 10s. You know, I think Red Dead is one of the greatest. Red Dead 2 is one of the greatest games I've ever played, but I recognize it has a lot of issues, you know, that stop it from being a 10 out of 10. For one thing, I don't want to go into that pit, but I'll do it. Red Dead 2 has the game limits how you play. Rockstar tell you if you try to play a certain way, you get penalized by Rockstar for playing that way. I think that's archaic. I think it's outdated. The game can be very slow at times, you know, for sure. Red Dead 2 has faults, and I recognize that. That's why it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I don't think there's a 10 out of 10 game. There's no 10 out of 10 games. Elden Ring is not a 10 out of 10, IGN. Well, bruh. Guys, I gotta go to bed. Thanks for watching this video. If you watched it all the way, let me know what you think down in the comment sections below. If you disagree with me, go ahead and disagree. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me. I really want to know. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. 100%. This game was not a 10 out of 10. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Peace.